You were talking earlier when we came into this negotiations course that you had a problem with negotiating. Can you tell me more about the problem?
Absolutely, Charmaine. So this is an area where I knew I had a really big gap. Wasn't good at negotiating, and the reason was my nature, which is really, really emotional. And I tend to care more about people, their emotions, not to hurt people. And that was the reason why I always held back. I always gave in when it came to negotiation. But Charmaine, thank you for giving me an insight which I never had, and a paradigm that I never thought of, that it could be depending on our needs and priorities in life that we can fight for. So that particular point which you made actually gave me a new paradigm to think about. And if I go back to my life's experience with family, with society, with friend circle, at work as well, what I noticed, if I had to fight for the priorities, being my family or my team, I get competitive. I really push, and I really do everything that's required to negotiate. So that's a really good point, and you got me thinking, because in the past I always thought it's a weakness that I have and I can't negotiate, but it's not true. So I would say to each one of them, listening to this video, or going into this course, or trying to get the best out of your art of negotiation, to put that in your practice, and question yourself, what are your priorities, what are you fighting for, what is it at stake, and the whole paradigm will change. And you will do everything that's required to get the best out of it, without, of course, hurting people, but you will do everything that's required to make it happen.
And what about when you said sometimes you feel like you do compromise?
I think,
how does that work?
because again, going back to priorities, if you know your priorities and you're compromising for your priorities, and say, for example, priority is not to hurt your family, it's worth that compromise, because you might win the battle with some decision that you're making with other party, and you can say I won, but what is at stake is your family. And if you lose your family or the harmony in the family, then it's not worth that victory. So I would say it's very circumstantial, and based on the situation you decide what's important for you and what's your priority. Can you actually put your family or your team at stake to win something which is may not be a lifelong, maybe a short term that you can celebrate, but you'll have that regret lifelong. Yeah.
Well done, well done.